It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Dialogues with Dan, heard on Rockland World Radio every Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check out the archives, which you can find located off the menu bar. And now the host of Dialogues with Dan, Dan Windheim.
Sure. Hi everyone, this is Dan, and today's another live interview for you all. I'm joined by Jonathan Schwartz right here, and Jonathan is speaking about Meals on Wheels. Actually, Jonathan is new working at Meals on Wheels. I'd like to introduce Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, so how long have you been at MOW?
I've been at Meals on Wheels for about 7 months now.
So how is it learning the stuff?
Learning this
the lingo
process.
and
It's a fun learning process. I work with a really good team, which helps a lot. I like my coworkers, and I learn from them every day. I also learn from the people that I go out and see and do assessments with and for. So I learn from the elderly people in the community that I actually go and visit and do assessments with.
Actually, tell us about maybe a general day in the week of Jonathan, like what you do, and you go out and see people, and what do you do with them?
Well, we do several. As an outreach social worker, I do several things. One of them encompasses going out and doing assessments on the people that get our meal service. They are age 60 and over in the community, and it's only Rockland County, because this is Meals on Wheels of Rockland County, so it's only Rockland County that we service. But there are other Meals on Wheels, but we just service Rockland County. So part of what I do is go out, and we get funded by the Office of Aging, which requires us to do an assessment. And this assessment encompasses demographic information, it encompasses health information, emergency contact information, the basics of where the person is at. Their functioning level too, a person's functioning level.
Yes.
That's very important, A functioning level in health is very important because as we do the assessment, part of our job is to determine if the client needs any other type of services in the community.
Yes.
And so we could refer out, we could refer that client to other agencies in the community that could fulfill those needs, the particular needs of that person. So that's an important part of the process.
Sure.
Another thing that we do is we do intake coordination. So we take the phone calls for all the people who are calling in about information about Meals on Wheels, what we do, when we deliver, what encompasses the meals. They ask about the drivers, the transportation. They ask about the pay, the cost of the service,
yes.
all those things. So we take those calls, we answer the questions, we fill out a form. It doesn't take long over the phone, maybe 8 to 9 minutes, and we can get them started with meal service just from getting that form done, and then so.
So you work primarily with adults or older clients.
Yes.
Not so much young people do receive Meals on Wheels, but you don't work with them.
Well, we serve Meals on Wheels of Rockland County technically services people 60 and over. Sometimes what happens is if a person is younger than 60 and they have a lot of health complications and they are on Medicaid, and Medicaid transfers them to what's called a managed long-term care agency.
Yes.
Sometimes that managed long-term care agency will pay for the meal service for that client because maybe they're bedridden, maybe they can't go out at all. they're wheelchair bound. They have, they have diabetes or obesity, whatever it is. They have health complications that prevents them from going out and doing shopping on their own, or they don't have family to do it for them. So sometimes that managed long-term care agency will pay for the meal service of that client who's under the age of 60. But mostly, we service people 60 and over in the community. Mostly.
I see. And as far as other areas around the country, Meals on Wheels exists, but the rules may be different for their area which they live.
Most likely, there would be some things different. I know there's a Meals on Wheels in Middletown, in Orange County. There's a Meals on Wheels New Jersey. There's a Meals on Wheels New York City. But they might have different protocols or procedures than what we do. But certainly, they go out, they deliver meals to people who are homebound and can't get it. Yes, they do that, but procedures might be a little different.
And if someone wanted to get involved with Meals on Wheels, they could call. You have the number for the local Meals on Wheels. Yeah,
our local Meals on Wheels is based in Nanuet, 121 West Nyack Road. The phone number is 624-6325. Anybody can call up. People are more than, we appreciate volunteers, we appreciate donations.
Sure.
You can go to www.mowrockland.org. You can look at the website. That can also give you contact information. It gives you a history of MOW, what we do, the services that we provide. As I was telling you before we started doing the interview, we're not just a meal delivery service. We also have senior centers for seniors in the community. Yes. We have a center in our office in Nanuet upstairs from our office. We have a center, an adult daycare center for people with dementia and Alzheimer's and other sorts of cognitive problems. Wow. And then we have an adult learning center where seniors in the community can come and take computer classes. And they give you a listing of what courses are offered and when. So
That's great information.
Yeah, and you can, the website has that information. So if you want to do the website, anybody can go on the website and, find out about the senior centers, find out about the adult daycare facility for people with dementia and Alzheimer's, Excellent. Find out about the adult learning center, Excellent. And all that.
Yes, and Meals on Wheels is paid for through grants and donations. And are there any grants? Does the state give grants?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We do the government and the government gives grants, okay, and we also have some private grants. Those grants go to people who need our meal service, but who maybe can't afford it.
Yes.
But they are in need of getting meals. So we do have that on a regular basis, and we also have like I said, the private grants, and those grants could cover the cost of either one meal a day, 5 days a week, or 2 meals a day, 5 days a week, or sometimes it covers 2 meals a day, 7 days a week, depending on the situation.
Yes, and you could actually call in, say, I don't want the lunch because I'm going out for lunch with my uncle. Could I get it on a different day? Yeah.
Well, let me finish the other question, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Sure. So the grants that you were asking about, some of them go to the meal service clients. Let's call them. Other grants go to the people. Other grants can go to the people who attend our adult daycare center, who have dementia and Alzheimer's. So sometimes we have grants available that entitle them to, let's say, 2 days a week at our facility, which provides them with socialization, recreation, cognitive and physical stimulation. It gives respite to the caregiver, as well. So it's a win-win situation, as Stephen Covey would say. It's a win-win situation. The family wins, and the client wins too. To address your other question, somebody can call in who gets meal service and say, I'm going on vacation for 4 or 5 days to wherever. Could you stop the meals or stop the meal service for a while? Yes. And we can easily just put that in the computer system and it stopped for a while. Also, you can get clients or people who call in from the community saying, well, I just need the meal service for 2 weeks because of, they're going out of town and their elderly father or mother needs meal service for 2 weeks while they're on vacation.
Yes.
And we can do that too. We can set the meal service up for a week or two for that person while their son or daughter, whoever, is out on vacation for a while. So we do that as well.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah, and as far as special diets, say kosher or other special diets.
Right. Our regular house diet, we call it. Our regular house diet accommodates people with diabetes because it's low sugar and low salt. Okay? So that accommodates people with diabetes. But we also have kosher meals. They're not made in our facility. They are actually made in Goshen or sent from Goshen to us, frozen, and then we heat them up and distribute them out.
Oh, very good.
We also can accommodate renal diets, people with renal problems and things like that. So we do have a couple of special diets that we accommodate.
That's super.
Yeah.
So you said 6 months? Seems like
7 months.
quite a bit about this.
Yeah. Well, not as much as the CEO, but I know a little bit about it.
Well, that's something to shoot for. Don't worry, your CEO doesn't have to worry.
Yeah, right. I told him I would be here anyway.
Oh,
so. Well, actually, it's a woman now.
Yes.
But it's a woman now. But the assistant executive director, that's the one I told. The assistant executive director. So he knows I'm here doing the interview.
Oh, very good.
But no, I'm not shooting for the CEO position, Dan. If that's what you're asking me.
Not yet.
No.
Oh, very good. So, we had mentioned how Meals on Wheels is paid for through grants, donations.
And private pay, too. People pay, we call it full fee. So we touched upon the grants that come in that cover the cost of the meal for, like, let's say 1 or 2 meals a day, 5 days a week. We also have clients who pay the full price, and our price is $6.50. Now, when I say that covers the meal and the delivery. So it's a pretty good deal if you consider that. You're getting the meal and the delivery. And the meal comes with a vegetable protein starch, with a side tray of bread, butter, juice, milk, fruit. So with the delivery cost, $6.50 is a good day. So per day, you can do that like 5 days a week. It comes out to $32.50 a week. Times that by 4, and you get your monthly cost. Some people pay the full price, and we get money that way to operate our facility through that full fee payment. And we also have, of course, like you said, the donations. We get funded by the Office of the Aging, which is up on 50 Sanatorium Road. I just went there today. And they are, they fund our organization basically to help us keep running and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I think I read that no one would be turned away from MOW. No one is rejected.
Say that again?
Like no one would be rejected if they couldn't pay for it.
Well, if they can't pay, that's a good question. If they can't pay, and remember, we serve people 60 and over in Rockland County. If they can't pay, then we put them on a waiting list. And the waiting list is basically a waiting list for a grant when the grants open up. So we have the government grants which come in. We have the private grants come in from, like, let's say Wells Fargo or Fidelis, or could be what's another one? Any number of private grants we have. I just off the top of my head, I remember the Wells Fargo and Fidelis. We also have other private grants, banks and things like that. That give us. But yes, we do put them on a waiting list, and then when a grant comes in, then we call them, and then they can put on the meal service. So right now there is a small waiting list for those grants because some people can't afford to pay, and then we call them when it's available. We also are involved with APS in some way. And when I say involved, we're a different organization, of course, but Adult Protective Services sometimes calls us and says, I have a client who can't afford meals. they live this, these are the problems that exist, these are their health problems that exist, and this is why they need meals. And we would put them on a waiting list right away, and hopefully, hope that a grant comes in so they could get meals.
Excellent. Yes, and your drivers, I'm sure they're well vetted before they have the job.
Well vetted?
Yeah.
You mean trained? Well trained?
And yeah, that they get along with people.
Oh, they're very I've never, since the 7 months I've been there, I've never heard a bad thing said about the drivers. They're always, very friendly, very courteous, very helpful. Some of the drivers even get the mail for the clients. Because if sometimes they can't walk down the steps and get the mail.
Sure.
Because we deal with seniors, who are very frail.
Yes.
So they really go above and beyond, sometimes what their actual job is. But we have paid drivers. We also have volunteer drivers, and
very good.
So we do have that. Yes, they are they're well trained, and they do have a lot of people skills and good communication skills, and they do know. I remember one incident where a driver called in to say that a woman had fell during the delivery, and that we should follow up on it because it's important. If you have a senior that falls, and some of these folks live alone too, so then the social workers contact the family and say, well, this driver had witnessed this person fall, and whatever steps need to take place, we follow those steps, and the family member is notified. The family member decides to either go over if they live close by, or call if they live far away. Maybe they'll call an ambulance. So all these things are important, especially with seniors that are frail and that have maybe limited people around that are helping them. We might be the people who they turn to for help, and also for just everyday conversation sometimes.
Well, very important.
Yeah, so it's very important. It's a very important service.
I'm sure the drivers, they could really act as a like a friend.
And they do. They do. That's what they're there for. It's not only just delivering a meal. It's how you doing, what's going on in your life. Do you enjoy the food? Do you have anything that you want to tell us about the food, or about your suggestions, or so that they act as a friend, and
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if any of your clients, do they go out at all, or like they can maybe go away, or
some of them have family members that take them. Some of them have family members that take them on vacations at times. That happens.
Yes.
So that happens on a semi-regular basis for some people. Other people might not have family around, so they don't get out too much. They don't maybe go on a vacation every 1 or 2 years.
Sure.
They basically stay home. Other people are, somewhat mobile. Some people are somewhat mobile. They can go for little walks around their neighborhood. But other people are very, drastically impaired, and they are basically homebound and can't go anywhere. So the age range really varies, 60 to, our oldest is 103, believe it or not, in New City. So 60 to 103. And the functioning level is very varied too. You could have a 96-year-old who doesn't have any memory problems or any cognitive problems, who's very sharp, very remembers very well, long-term and short-term. He gets around very well. He doesn't use a cane or walk or anything like that. So you can have a 96-year-old like that who gets meal service. But you can also have a 65-year-old who has diabetes, COPD, maybe they're overweight and they don't get around that much. Maybe they have early stages of dementia, so they're starting to have memory loss and confusion. So there's really a varied range of not only ages, but functioning levels and things like that.
Yes, and I understand that MOW recently, I read, served their 8 millionth meal, But you had said...
I think it's 9 million
No,
now.
it's not.
I think it's 9 million now. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, folks.
Yes.
But I think it's 9 million now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really, really important service for the community. It really is.
And as far as if someone lives like on the border of Rockland County and they're on the border of
Like Mahwah, New Jersey or something like that?
Like would MOW say, no, I'm sorry? Or would they maybe make allowances?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wouldn't make that decision because I'm an outreach social worker. I would go to our transportation coordinator and ask him if the driver's willing to do that little short route into Mahwah. Let's say they're up in that area. But even if we couldn't go into Mahwah because it's sort of on the border with Suffern, right? So, yeah, we would just call MOW New Jersey and have that have that service delivered to the person in Mahwah. So
I guess your Rockland MOW and Jersey, they work hands in hand.
No, we don't necessarily work hand in hand with them. We're a separate entity. We're Meals on Wheels of Rockland County. But there is Meals on Wheels in New Jersey, and you can just Google it. I mean, I've Googled it. People call me up and say, I got a call one time, Meals on Wheels, I want meal service. And they started talking. I said, where do you live? And they said Illinois. I said, wait a second. It's Rockland County, New York. So I had to go online and Google it. And you can Google it, just Meals on Wheels, whatever city, Chicago or whatever it is, Illinois, or, New Jersey, and it comes up and you just call that number and then you can get information directly from the Meals on Wheels in New Jersey.
That's great information.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is heard in other areas, so someone could really get a lot from this info.
Hopefully. But I don't know about the Meals on Wheels in other countries. That I don't know about, I just know about the area here.
Right. Exactly.
But they did have one in, believe it or not, or it might not have been Meals on Wheels, but it was a meal service in Illinois, in that particular city that person was inquiring about.
Yes.
And I gave them the number. So they did have something,
That's
a
awesome.
meal service. I mean, if you really look at society in general, the population is getting older and older and older.
Yes.
And there are people in their 80s and 90s and further along that are basically unable to, shop for their necessities and things like that. So you have more of these facilities opening up around the country that specifically cater to elderly people in the community in regards to meal delivery. So.
Yes, and does MOW differ, like disabled? Like, I started this program about disabilities.
Right.
Is there a service for the disabled? Or does MOW work with the disabled also?
Well, we deliver meals to elderly folks that a lot of them are disabled. Yes, some of them are disabled. So, and I don't know the percentage, but a certain number of them are disabled in some way. Some of them are wheelchair bound, and some of them have other types of disabilities. I just visited a man today who had TBI. Yeah, he fell when he was 29 years old, and he's traumatic brain injury, and he gets meals delivered to him. So we do serve people that are 60 and over with disabilities, but the younger people with disabilities, you had to go through another organization for that. Who would know about that? Maybe Rockland Independent Living Center would know about that. You know them too.
Yes.
Joanio might know about that. Which agency would cater to young people with those sorts of disabilities that might get meal service.
That's great information.
So.
Yes, so I'm wondering though, if you're below 65, 60
right.
Meals on Wheels won't work with you. Like as far as I know, like if you receive food stamps or if you receive social services, SSI, they have food programs.
Right. Well, if you are younger than 60,
Yes.
okay, and you're not managed by a managed long-term care agency that would pay for your meal service through MOW, yeah, you can go to DSS, right? You can get food stamps.
Yes.
You can get other sorts of assistance that you might need through DSS. So that's their agency is specifically geared towards dealing with those kinds of younger people that might have specific disabilities that might lend itself to needing meal service and other types of things, or food stamps, public assistance,
Exactly.
Section 8. All these things are through DSS.
Yes, I think I read that if there's someone who's receiving MOW and they have like a guest, there's a way they could get a meal as well.
A guest?
Like a friend who's joining them for lunch.
I'm not sure of that. I know that we have referrals. I mean, one person that gets meal service might say, I have a friend who needs it as well, and we would specifically talk to that person and sign them up individually if they meet the qualifications of being 60 and over and living in Rockland County, all that. But in terms of a guest, I don't think so. I'm not sure of that. I've never really got that question before. Certainly, we don't send out meals to somebody. We don't send out 2 meals to the same person just because they get a meal service program and the other is a guest. We don't do that. We would have to sign somebody else up for the meal service because we have specific drivers, specific routes. Remember that they do their routes,
Yes.
specific meals allotted for those. So I think the answer to that question, I would say, even though I don't know a lot about it, is no, because it's just a guest, and we wouldn't do
I'm
that.
sorry, John.
You stumped me, Dan. You told me you wouldn't stump me,
It's
but you
only
stumped
been
me.
6 months.
Yeah, that's right.
So
7, probably 6 to
So-
7. It's all right.
Dialogues with Dan isn't perfect.
That's right. But you were going to ask
Right.
me about the pet pantry too, right?
Oh yes,
wanna-
most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a new program. Pantry.
Yeah, the pet pantry is designed for people who get our meal service, who have cats or dogs. They can't afford the regular food for that pet. We would supply them with some pet food for them.
Isn't that excellent?
Yeah, I just delivered actually today, and I don't do it a lot, but I delivered today. I went to do an assessment for a client. So I went to get their information, updated information, health information, this demographic information, and things like that. And I also bought them over a bag of dry cat food and a couple cans of the wet cat food.
Awesome.
So yeah, she was very happy about
You
that.
went above and beyond.
Yeah, we always do. We always try to do that.
That's great.
We always go above and beyond. I consider myself, even though I'm an outreach social worker for Meals on Wheels, whatever problems the person is facing. Like today, I went to the Office of the Aging. I picked up a walker and drove it over to the person's house because they needed a new walker because their walker, they gave it away for some reason, but he really needed one. So, it's not really in my job description, but hey, if a person needs a walker and they have greater mobility, that you do it. You just do it. You drive there, you do it, and you do what it takes.
That's awesome.
You're awesome too, Dan.
Oh,
We're friends. We go way back.
oh yes. So, John, that's
Thanks.
kudos
Thanks,
to
Dan.
John Schwartz.
Thank you, Dan.
Above and beyond.
That's right.
And
motto.
lastly, John,
Yeah, lastly.
could you give the website and maybe a phone number
Sure.
one last time?
Sure. Meals on Wheels of Rockland County, the main number for our Nanuet office is 624-6235. I'm sorry, 624-6325. 624-6325. And the website is www.mowrockland.org.
Excellent. From beginning to end.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, everyone,
Good talking to you.
this has been John Schwartz on Dialogues with Dan. Have a great week. Peace.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com